All right, AMP1 students, we are going to finish up in this video talking about the integumentary system. So we're going to talk about aging of the integument. So what kind of changes occur as we get older, and specifically changes in our skin. So the first thing that we'll talk about is the healing process of our skin. So in the last video, we talked about how our skin is repaired and how it regenerates. And so that still happens as we get older, but it's much slower or delayed. And that is because our cells that undergo mitosis, so remember those are our stratum basal cells, those cells that are keratinocytes that are in the stratum basal layer of the epidermis, they do not undergo mitosis as quickly. There might be fewer of them, and so it's going to be a little bit longer for healing of wounds compared to someone that's younger. And usually, maybe twice as long, on average, is how long it will take for someone that's in their 70s for their skin to heal versus somebody that's younger, like in their 20s. So that is one thing that we'll see in our skin, is it's going to take longer for it to heal as we get older. The other thing that also goes along with our cells that are undergoing mitosis and replacing older, lost or damaged cells is the epidermis. It becomes thinner, so we will not have as many layers of keratinocytes as we get older, and so even our thick skin is a little bit thinner, and then our thin skin's even thinner, and so we're just more prone to damage to our skin because we don't have that thickness that we had when we were younger. So, and that again is just based on the fact that we have fewer of our cells that are undergoing mitosis to replace older damaged cells, and they're not functioning at the highest capacity, or as well as they did when we were younger. So, all right. So other changes that you can see, we'll look at in the dermis. And so remember, the dermis is made of areolar connective tissue and some dense irregular connective tissue, and primarily that's a lot of collagen and elastin, those type of proteins that are kind of fibrous, and they're supposed to provide strength to our skin and also, some flexibility, so we can common body movements allow the skin will kind of move with those, and then it'll recoil, come back to its normal shape afterwards. So that's the dermis. But as we get older, the number of collagen fibers decreases, and as well as the elastic fibers, they aren't as well organized. The elastic fibers aren't as elastic. They're starting to lose some of that ability to recoil. And so what you'll notice is wrinkles. And there's certain places in the body where you'll see more wrinkles, because those are areas where we have kind of repetitive movements, so like around the eyes and around the mouth and things like that. So that's a cause for wrinkles, is that loss of collagen fibers, and then also the loss of elasticity in those elastic fibers. Other things that you can see, and you're probably familiar with, is the hair follicles. They either produce thinner hairs, or they stop producing hairs. So that's a pretty common sign of aging as well. And again, I think it's all based on the reduced number of cells that are making those hairs, so the keratinocytes that are making hairs, and then the kind of the decreased activity of the mitosis that's going on there too. So it's slowing down. So you'll see that as well. The cells in the epidermis and the dermis, the dendritic cells, there's fewer of those as well. So a lot of times infections are more common in the skin when you're older versus when you're younger. So we have to be more conscious of that fact too, because there's just less defenses in there. Plus we have that thinner skin too, so that would also make it more likely for an infection to happen. So, and then the last thing that we'll talk about is chronic overexposure to UV rays. So people that are exposed to sunlight for long periods of time and often, and they don't wear any sunscreen, you know, or something like that, they not only can have damage to their DNA and be more prone to developing a skin cancer, but they also, all these things that we're talking about that goes along with aging, the thinner skin and the slower healing and the wrinkles, they seem to come earlier if a person is exposed to that sunlight for, you know, overexposed to it for longer periods and they don't protect themselves. So you can see like aging happening sooner than it normally would have if they would have protected themselves from the sun. So, all right. So that is our aging of the integument, things that you should be aware of, and we will talk about the aging of other body systems as well, other tissues as we go through A&P. So, so it's good to know why those things happen, and sometimes there's things we can do to slow it down or control it a little bit, but inevitably they'll eventually get you. So, all right, so I'll see you guys in the videos for the next chapter.